Welcome to this Musical Passions podcast for City Music Cleveland, where our special guest is Andréa Walker, who is the soloist for the upcoming concert on January 27th at the Praxis Workshop. And it's a very interesting program that's being presented with an intriguing title, and it's called Music in the Time of Goya. So, Andréa, welcome. Jim and I look forward to having a chat with you because in looking at the program, you're doing some really interesting things that we know nothing about, although I did a little research. But first, tell us a little bit about your background. You've got a few videos on YouTube, and they're of pretty standard, in a sense, classical and Baroque material of Handel and Schubert and material like that, and some religious for a requiem. And what you're going to be singing at this concert, which I'm intrigued by, are works by two 18th century Spanish composers, although the second one is a little bit more complicated. Francesco Corselli was born in Italy of French parents, but spent most of his musical life in Madrid. So do we call him Spanish or not? And Jose de Nebra is definitely Spanish. And in fact, he is famous for composing zarzuelas, I hope I pronounced that right, which is basically the Spanish equivalent of the Viennese operetta. So anyway, that's what you're going to be doing. This is what I've seen you do. How did you, what is your background and how did you get into this material?
Yes, thank you so much for having me, and wonderful introduction. I am already excited just, hearing these facts and knowing that we're diving into this really, really exciting repertoire and period of history of music this month with CityMusic Cleveland. So yeah, I'm from San Antonio, Texas. I've been singing all my life, and I studied classical voice. And so a lot of my training was with European music, primarily German, Italian, French, English, which is sort of the bulk of the standard repertoire, or
absolutely
the canon of music that young musicians are exposed to and are trained with. And it's wonderful repertoire, but there's so much more out there. And a lot of those, big hitting names that I have sung and, that I love, the ones you mentioned and that I have recorded, they have overshadowed a lot of other repertoire. And so I'm so grateful for this opportunity to join CityMusic Cleveland and Guillermo Salas Suarez, who curated this beautiful concert with Spanish Baroque repertoire, which is not performed enough. And it is such exciting repertoire. And it means a lot to me because my mom is Mexican. I grew up speaking Spanish. And so finally, I get to perform a concert of music, in a native tongue of mine, and a language that means a lot to me and my family and a lot of my friends. So yeah, that's a little bit of background about me and where my past and this current concert.
Yes, and also where your passion is. I mean, your enthusiasm for this material really, really comes through. I'm excited. I know Guillermo chose the program, and he is Spanish by background or Hispanic by background.
Yes.
And this is very exciting. Of the four composers on the program, the only one I'm familiar with is Antonio Soler, who did a lot of incredible compositions for the harpsichord. But I'm really looking forward to get to know this material. And I've got a little bit of familiarity with zarzuelas because I have some recordings by Victoria de Los Angeles, and Placido Domingo also did some zarzuela arias. And so that's a lot of fun.
Yes.
In
Yeah,
fact,
absolutely.
I found a clip of one of the pieces from the zarzuela that you'll be singing at the beginning of the program, if they follow the printed version. And the title of that, my Spanish is not as good as yours, is Vendato es amor non es ciego. Is that right?
Yeah.
Which translates as though blindfolded, love is not blind. Now, tell us about this particular zarzuela, and it says you're going to be singing excerpts. So that sounds good that it's going to be more than one piece that you're doing. Tell us about that.
With Vendado es amor, no es ciego, we get a taste of how cheeky this music can be. Love is blindfolded, not blind. And we see Cupid come into the picture, who's never up to any good.
No, never.
And so this zarzuela in particular is just, a bombastic showcase of operatic proportions. So we have love and drama and a lot of mythological characters coming in. And I am singing one particular aria about a shipwreck and how the sailors, they don't have any fear, but all of a sudden they see the storm coming and they know that their ship is going to sink. And so, we get this sudden contrast of, being completely complacent to fearing for your life. And that, of course, is, a parallel of love and what can happen and what can change in the blink of an eye. But the Nebra setting of this story and this text is really, really impressive and bombastic, like I said, definitely of operatic proportions. And we get a lot of vocal fireworks and, big orchestration. And it's quite flashy and quite exciting. So that's one aria I'm singing. And
something or other, Tempesta?
Yes, the Tempest. Yeah.
Ah, okay, because I've got a clip of that. There are several versions available on the internet, and one of them actually has dancers in the staging. So you're not going to do any dancing, are you?
We'll see. We'll see. Maybe.
Okay.
I don't want to give anything away, but
okay, good.
I hope I won't be the only one dancing.
So the selections from this particular composition will be a mixture of vocal and a mixture of just instrumental, but you're going to be singing more than one aria, I hope.
Yes. I'm singing.
That's what I want to hear.
Well, it's a good balance of drama and, text and story too.
Great. What's the second aria that you're going to be singing?
So we have some excerpts. We have some recit and the big aria about the tempest and the storm that's coming and being on a ship throughout all of that. That aria is the big the big feature, the seguidillas and fandangos, which is a smaller scale piece. And it uses sort of verse refrain form, which is a little bit more typical of Spanish music. Yeah, it features this dance rhythm, and it's a smaller scale, but is sort of goes along with the mythological and also pastoral theme of the piece.
Great. Well, certainly something to look forward to for those of us who know very little about the repertoire, and I hope that you will introduce it and put us in the mood for this piece.
Before we continue with the interview, here is that clip that Eric was speaking of, the bombastic aria Tempestad by Jose Nebra.
let me move to the second composer, the Francisco Corselli. And the title of this piece is Si Aquel Monarco de Israel. Now, I don't know much Spanish, but Monarco de Israel obviously sounds like King of Israel.
Mhm.
And is it one of the liturgical pieces that this composer wrote?
Yes, exactly. So
Second good guess.
yes, so we switch directions and we go from the, almost grand operatic genre to court music and sacred court music.
Ah, okay.
So, this is a sacred cantata and written for the court, for court enjoyment, court entertainment, as opposed to for the public sphere, for everybody to enjoy. And so, yeah, it was very common for these composers of the time to have their court positions, which were, typically secure and stable and probably good money. And Nebra and Corselli particularly were also writing opera for the public, for the masses as well. But we do see a change of style in this different, smaller scale cantata genre.
Sounds great, because this guy, you said he was a court composer.
Mhm.
In Wikipedia, they make the statement that he was active in Madrid as a tenor, harpsichordist, violinist, and the teacher to the Royal Infanta. So he certainly, was able to pay the bills with all those components.
Absolutely. They were kept busy. They were put to work and were very, multifaceted musicians.
Well, this certainly sounds like an extraordinary prelude for the concert. And if it works out exactly as I expected to, given your enthusiasm and given Guillermo and the wonderful musicians' enthusiasm for this repertoire, I hope the chance will come for you to and the musicians to do a follow-up concert. And I have heard, what I've heard of this Zarzuela material is just wonderful. And if you like operetta, this has got a wonderful stuff with a Spanish accent. And it's not the waltz so much as it is Spanish dancing that underlies this material. Andrea, thank you so much for joining us. I know your schedule is busy and you've got several weeks ahead of you to do a lot of groundwork for the concert. And we look forward to welcome you in Cleveland, which by the end of January, fingers crossed, will be habitable for people from the South.
Yes.
This video will end with the Corselli selections that Eric spoke of, but first, here is a reminder of all the details of the January 27th concert of the Spanish Baroque.